So in this video I will give you a quick explanation about how I adapted the systems or software for me. For example, when I have a day trading template and I just want to analyze any day trading market, either a future itself or the different contracts. For me what works best, but Tom has a different layout, Serge has a different layout, you need to adapt this for yourself, but we can give you some inspiration in my example how I use it on TradingView. So on TradingView you can implement the volume and the market profile. But you need to know that the volume profile in TradingView for now, I think they want to change it in the future, is based on tick data. There is no real big difference in the high volume areas, but in the lower volume areas there are some differences. But for me, because I focus more and more on long-term trading, it is enough. But if you want to start and if you want to exercise and also want to focus on long-term perspective, of course you can use the same. Otherwise, please choose Sierra Chart, Atas. There are so many softwares outside where you can connect the data feed. But for me, I have the weekly profiles down here. So I have a market profile. In purple there are the single prints. We have the close. We have the initial balance. I don't have the exact open because it is somewhere in the initial balance. And then I have the volume profile next to it with a VPOC, value area low, value area high. And the single prints are extended to the right. So this is for me is the weekly profile, and then this is the daily profile. So again, we have the initial balance, we have the close. The darker the color is, the more early it is on the day. So the lighter the color, the later it is on the day in this market profile. And then I adapt the settings too. So you can adapt the settings here. What is the time period you want to have the profile on? In this case it's 1 day, 1 block size, so 1 letter, 1 row of letters is 30 minutes, basic settings, row size is manual. You can also put it to auto, but then sometimes, it gets, they increase the TPO size a lot and I don't like it because then for me personally it's not enough data. So I reduce it to the volatility of the market. So I have a good overview, but I think 2 is too much or is too low. Yes. Most likely I will increase it to 5, or when volatility is rising sometimes to 10, but that I have a good overview over the profile. And that way I can create my business zones. So I can create them on the weekly chart. So I will extend the zone most of the time on the down here. You can see I will extend it until the end of the week because the weekly zone is going to be valid until the end of the week. I created a template's called 1. So this is the weekly zone and make it visual on all charts. Then I just duplicate that zone and create a zone on the downside. Yeah, most likely like this. So now I have my business zones and they are, this one should be now as well on all charts. So if I decrease this chart, I now have my business zones on the other charts as well. It's a 30-minute chart and it's a 5-minute chart in this case. Sometimes I go down to 1 minute, but not very often. And I can do the same with the daily zones. So if I want to create daily zones or general analysis, I create it for the whole Monday. So market. Oh, what's going on? So take it like this. Create a different template. So daily zones for me are 2 because it's the lower time frame. Visual on all charts. Copy paste. Create the zone on the other side. And now again, I have my weekly zones and my daily zones on the chart that I will take trades on. So I have the weekly zones here, I have the daily zones in there. Sometimes I like to mark them green as we are in uptrend, for example, in this example. I will mark them because I tend to prefer long trades in this case. We also have a very strong close, kind of high, depending on the open. I don't know where the open is going to be on Monday, but I will just mark the zones in green, filling green, so I know that I prefer long trades on those zones and also a long trade on this zone. Of course, sometimes I also take short trades, but I prefer trades to the long side or to the upside. So I mark them green or red in case of short. You can also adapt the colors. It's the way I prefer most. You can create now a template the way you prefer it. I have created different templates for different cases. For example, when I check the currencies or when I analyze the currency futures, I have one template where there's one time frame, but when the settings are, so there is the TPO profile and you can decide about the visibility. So when the profile or indicator is visible on the different charts, and then if I'm switching to the 4-hour time frame and I'm making sure that there is the same time horizon on all the different currency futures, then, for example, in this case, the weekly profile is shown. When I go to the 1-hour time frame, I think it's the daily profile, so I can make daily analysis. And then when I go to the lower time frames, because I don't want to have the profiles the whole time, because for me it's too much information in the chart, then if I go to the 15 or 5-minute chart, the profiles will disappear. And when I create zones, there will be only the zones in there. So, but you can create a different one. For example, here's an overview over the different future markets. It's the same process, because this one is just when I actively want to trade one asset, I want to have all the information in one view. But when I trade multiple assets, for example, when I trade currencies, most of the time I've opened more than one trade, so I don't want to switch between the markets all the time. So I like this overview because the currencies are all also intercorrelated, and the same is for indices. It's the way I prefer, so I want to show you this. You don't need to do the same. It depends on if you, for example, in the beginning, it can be very beneficial to only trade one asset. Then just create a template maybe like this for one asset and just focus on one asset.